How do you feel about Tom Ford fragrances? Do you like them? Do you love them? Do you think they're overhyped? Well, if you didn't know, my name is Ayesha and I am a Tom Ford fragrance addict. I'm not ashamed. I have 15 fragrances to share with you all, plus 2 honorable mentions. And today I'm just gonna go through my entire collection, give you a brief overview of each fragrance. And I am going in order of my least favorite to my most favorite. So if you're interested in seeing my entire Tom Ford fragrance collection, then just keep watching. So, like I said, I have 15 fragrances to share with you all that I actually ranked, but I have 2 additional ones that I'm not going to include in the ranking because I feel like it's unfair. So I'm going to show those first. So the first one I'm not including because I literally just got it. I have not even worn it. I've worn it one time from a sample, but I haven't worn this yet, so I can't really rank it. It is part of my collection, but I'm not going to rank it. But the fragrance I'm referring to is Tom Ford Ombre Leather. And I did mention this in a previous video, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but this is a creamy leather car scent. You definitely have to like leather to like this scent. I don't think this scent is for everybody, but I do think it's beautiful and I think it's perfectly suited for a man or a woman. And yeah, I would highly recommend, especially now that this is no longer a part of their private line. If you guys didn't know, this used to be one of their private line fragrances, and it used to be like in the standard private line bottle, kind of like these. So it was a lot more expensive. Now it is much more affordable. I picked mine up by getting the Sephora sampler, which is $68, and you can redeem the certificate in that for a 1.7 ounce bottle. But even if you don't want to do the sampler, the 1.7 ounce bottle retails for, I believe, $134. So way less than what the private line retails for. The second fragrance that I have that is not going to be included in the ranking is actually just a travel spray, and this was sent to me a while ago from Royalty Scents. But this is Tom Ford Vanille Fatale, and I was kind of hoping to pick this up during the Sephora sale, but it was sold out. But I really do like it. I've only worn it a couple times, as you can see. I honestly don't do well with travel sprays. I kind of forget about them. So that's why I'm not included in the ranking. I do really like it though. It is a vanilla that is like an incensey vanilla. So it's kind of like a deeper, darker scent. It is not one that I would wear during the hot weather. I think it's too like deep, dark, and smoky for that. Not as smoky as some of the other ones we're gonna talk about, but it's definitely not a lightweight scent. All right, now let's get into the rest of the ones I have. I have a mixture of Private Blend and the regular Tom Ford line. I did do one of these videos last year during Vlogmas as well, but since then my collection has changed. So make sure you check out that video to see what it was like last year. I have gotten rid of some. I have added some, obviously. So yeah, if you notice any differences from last year, like if you notice something is missing, it's because I felt like I didn't need it. So we're gonna start out from my least to my most favorite fragrance. And I have to tell you, none of these are fragrances that I don't like. I have been doing a good job this year of getting rid of fragrances that I don't like or that I'm not excited about, because I just have too many fragrances to mess around with stuff that I'm really not into. So all of these I really like. Most of them are actually loves for me, but the others are kind of like high level likes, if that makes sense. So my first and my least favorite is Neroli Portofino. This is part of the private line. I actually picked this up, I think earlier this year, maybe like during the spring. And it's a really nice spring summer scent. It has a citrus element to it mixed with the floral element. Neroli is a floral note, but it kind of has some citrus nuances too, if that makes sense. Now, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Neroli and Orange Blossom are from the same plant, just different parts. Could be wrong. Y'all can correct me down below. I'm not going to be offended. But generally, when I smell Neroli, it is similar to Orange Blossom, but less sweet. So this is definitely one that I think a man could pull off, a woman could pull off, anybody could pull off. I just think it's a really fresh, clean scent, perfect for summer in my opinion. But honestly, for a man, I say for a man because I feel like a lot of men who are not like super like into fragrance, They just want something that they can throw on, smell good. So I would say in that case, for that type of man, I think this could be a year-round scent because it's not going to offend anybody. You're always going to smell good. It's not the longest lasting, but you can definitely touch it up throughout the day. And I really enjoy it. It's just, you know, not my favorite because I have some really big favorites here. Next up is one that I don't believe I've ever talked about on my channel. This is one I actually kind of picked up on a whim at the cosmetic company outlet store. I smelled in the store, really liked the way it smelled. It was a great deal, so I picked it up. And this is Shanghai Lily. So this one to me is very different. It would not be for everybody. You can definitely smell the lily in it, but I believe there may be plum or some sort of dark fruit in it as well. And then it kind of has like a musky undertone to it. It's really nice. It's kind of one of those scents that when you wear it, it feels like it's just enveloping you. You feel like you're like swallowed in the scent. So you would not want to go overboard with this. This is one of the heavy hitters from the line, honestly. I don't wear it very much. I really don't even know why. I just don't, probably because I have too many fragrances. But it is a very nice scent, and I definitely think that this is one of the longer lasting ones, and it's also one that I find is just very different in my collection. I can't, just smelling it right offhand, I can't think of anything that it really reminds me of. I definitely could see that some people may consider this to be a more mature scent. It kind of has that vintagey smell to it, and I believe that's because of the lily. But in my opinion, it doesn't smell old lady-ish. And I definitely think a man could wear this as well, but I think it leans a bit more feminine. I didn't say it before, but I'm pretty sure Tom Ford fragrances as of now are all unisex marketed, but y'all know we can wear whatever we want. So I will say if something leans more masculine or more feminine in my opinion, but take that with a grain of salt. We wear what we want, okay? So I apologize if you guys hear all the noise in the background. It's a Saturday, so my kids are home. You can hear them playing, and my neighbor's dog just will not stop barking. I was trying to wait it out, but honestly, if I keep waiting, I'm never gonna get this video done. So I apologize if that bothers you all. The next fragrance that I have is Mandarino The Amalfi. And this one I purchased at the same time as Neroli Portofino, but I honestly just find myself reaching for this more. It still has that light, fresh quality, but in this one, I believe it's a little bit sweeter, and it definitely, you can smell the mandarin in this. I believe this is based on orange blossom, whereas Neroli Portofino is based on neroli. So this one to me just smells a lot fresher, but not fresher. It smells a lot sweeter and more rounded along with the freshness. So this one I really prefer. If I had to choose between one or the other, obviously I would choose Mandarino The Amalfi. And just like Neroli Portofino, this does not last all day on me. This is one that I have to top off throughout the day. But because it's that refreshing type scent and I wear it during hot weather, I really don't mind that. You can see I've used up quite a bit of it. Next up is one of the most unique fragrances in my collection, and this is fucking fabulous. I'm sorry for my language, but that's just the name of the fragrance. But this fragrance is one that I just really have to be in the mood to wear. I don't reach for it that often, to be honest. It is very long lasting. It has really good projection. And to me, this smells leathery and powdery and also a little bit floral. See, now that I'm smelling it, I want to wear it. So yes, it is a very intoxicating scent when you smell it. But like I said, when I actually wear it on my skin, I feel like I kind of have to be in the mood for it. And I think it's because of the leathery note in it. Sometimes it can turn a bit rubbery on my skin, kind of like that burnt rubber smell. I usually never smell that like in the air when I'm wearing the fragrance, but like if I sniff my skin, I will get it, and sometimes it kind of turns me off. So that's why it's kind of lower in this ranking, but I do really still love it. I think it's very unique. And I think it's one you actually have to try on the skin. When I initially smelled this in store, like the first time, I smelled it from the bottle and I was like, ugh, what do people like about that? But when you spray this on the skin, it really kind of develops and you really get all the facets. And it's just a very different fragrance. So leathery, powdery, green, and just a tiny bit floral. So it's not one of the sweeter scents. I definitely think that this one is unisex, but I honestly think it leans maybe a bit more masculine than feminine, if that makes sense. Next up is a fragrance that I actually did a video on earlier this year, and this is none other than Tom Ford Rose Prick. This is one of my absolute favorite looking bottles in my collection. I love the coloring on this. And I think the coloring fits the fragrance well because it has this baby pink to signify the roses, and then the black, matte black, kind of gives it that edge. And I think that embodies what the fragrance is about. So it definitely has that rose. It has, I think, 3 different types of rose, but then along with that rose, you get the pepper and the incense. And as it dries down, it almost gets to smelling like there's some oud in there. I don't think oud is listed as a note, but to me, it kind of reminds me of one of those rose oud scents. But it's so good. That pepper just really, to me, at the beginning, that pepper just really stands out. So if you are a rose lover, this may not be the best rose fragrance to you. However, I'm not a rose lover, and I really enjoy the way that this rose is done. To me, this is a Tom Ford rose, and I'm here for it. The next fragrance that I have is one of my more ladylike fragrances. Now, I know some men wear this fragrance, but to me, when I smell it, it smells feminine to me. But this is Champaka Absolute. And to me, this smells like a drinking wine at a garden wedding. It is just beautiful. It's very beautiful. I don't give it enough love because I don't know why I don't give it enough love, but it is so pretty. Every time I wear it, I just feel so pretty. So yes, this is just a very pretty fragrance, but it's not like, how do I say this? It's not what some would consider a generic pretty fragrance. Like if you think about something like, let's say a Miss Dior Blooming Bouquet or something like that. I don't want to offend anybody, but hopefully y'all know what I mean. It's not like a mass appealing pretty scent, but I still think it's very pretty, nice for like dress up occasions, daytime occasions, brunch. I really need to wear this more. I think I don't wear it because I don't really go anywhere like that. But it's really pretty. So good. So next up is another fragrance that I passed by in the store so many times because when you smell this out of the bottle, it does not smell as good as it does on the skin. And this is Santal Blush. So this fragrance is all about the sandalwood, but it's that creamy type sandalwood. So this is very creamy and sweet. I'm not sure if vanilla is a note in here, but it kind of smells like there could be some vanilla like kind of in the background, but mainly this is sandalwood done oh so well. And this really just blossoms on the skin. It makes me feel very like comforted and cozy without being like a really heavy fragrance. So I definitely think I can wear this year round. I tend to go for my cozier fragrances during the fall, winter, but I was wearing this during the summer. I think it just can work for any time of the year. It's so pretty. I have an older bottle, so now the bottles look like this, but I actually prefer this bottle. So I've seen this bottle pop up on FragranceNet from time to time. So if you are interested in getting in this bottle, check them out. I believe they have it notated on there if it's gonna be the older packaging or the newer packaging, but honestly, I prefer the look of the older packaging. I think it's so pretty. And this one I think is overlooked, even though I have seen some people mention it lately. I think a lot of people have overlooked this one, but it's really good. I think if you are not a Tom Ford lover, you still probably could like this fragrance. Next up is another fragrance that I've talked about a lot. I know I have a full review of this on my blog that I will try to remember to link down below, but this is Tom Ford Metallique. So this fragrance is one that I smelled in store as I was walking through right before I kind of really got back into fragrances like I am now. So I was walking through the mall, saw it was a new Tom Ford fragrance, sprayed it on a card, and I was like, that smells good. Walked away and didn't think about it. I left the card in my car, smelled it like 2 days later, and I was like, I need that. So Metalik is like this warm and cozy vanilla, but then it has a twist to it. It has that mellow note that really makes it stand out, that makes it cooler as well. So this is like a mixture of a cool and warm fragrance. That mellow note is very different, so I know some people will not like it, but honestly, when you spray this on the skin, to me, it smells really, really good and very different, and I love that about it. So yeah, Tom Ford Metalik also is not a part of the private line. I'm not saying that the regular fragrances in the line are cheap. They are not by any means, but they are less expensive than the private line, so I think they're a bit more accessible. Next up is a fragrance that I've actually purchased twice. I never finished the first bottle, but I did break like the atomizer for it, and so I finally just ended up selling the broken bottle and I bought another one. So I'm kind of surprised, because this is my second bottle and because I have so many fragrances, I'm surprised I can see right now that I've used it all the way to here. That's kind of scary, y'all. So yeah, I don't know. I should have gotten the big bottle of this because obviously I love it. This is Orchid Soleil. I love the rose gold bottle of it. This is part of the Orchid line. So Black Orchid is the most popular in the first one. So it's in that same line. So even though it's a part of the Black Orchid line, to me this smells very, very different. I mean, it kind of has some similarities. It has that same floral note that Black Orchid has, but this one to me is a lighter, sweeter, almost like a tropical twist on it. I believe this has some tropical flowers in it, maybe ylang ylang, which honestly I think is in the original version as well, but in this version I feel like those notes are kind of more to the forefront. So typically I like to wear this during hot weather. I can wear it year round, honestly, but I typically reach for it during hot weather, either in the day or at night. If it's really hot, then maybe nighttime, but honestly, I feel like I can get away with it any time of the year. It is so good. I know some people don't like it because it kind of has somewhat of a vintage scent to it, and I can't really explain why, but it's just different than what a lot of the fragrances smell like today. So I really, really like this one. I think it's unique. I think it's one you kind of have to smell, and it's not gonna be for everybody, but you can see it's pretty high up in my list. So I really, really enjoy this, and like I hate buying backups, but this keeps going. Like I'm questioning if this is gonna be discontinued because it's not really widely available. So I kind of want to get a big bottle, but I don't like to be like a hoarder. But I didn't realize I was all the way down here. So I feel like, I don't know, maybe next year I'll get a big bottle of it. We'll see. So next up, I feel like it's gonna be very surprising because for a while, this was in my top 2 of my Tom Ford fragrances, and this year I just have to be honest, it's no longer top 2. It is still pretty high. Let's see, it's this is number 6, so it's not even my top 5 anymore, y'all. I am shocked, but I have to be honest, it drops. Let's talk about what the fragrance is, and then I'll talk about why it kind of dropped in my list. So this fragrance is Soleil Blanc. So this is my bougie summer suntan lotion type fragrance. This is one I strictly reserve for the summer. To me, this smells like you are at a luxury resort. It is so pretty. I love it. Like sitting here sniffing, I'm like, how did it drop so far? But I have to be honest, this summer, maybe because I tried a lot more summer fragrances, I just didn't find myself reaching for this or wanting to reach for it as much as in previous years. I don't wear this anytime besides the summer or spring, just because I feel like this gives me those type of warm weather, go to the beach vibes, fancy vacation vibes, and I really don't want to smell like that in the winter. But I just felt like this summer, there were just so many other options that I did not reach for this as much. I still love it, but to be honest, when I look at my collection, it's not like I could see myself getting rid of this, but the next 5 fragrances that I have are I would hold on to first. Like if I had to get rid of them, I had to only keep 5, I would keep the next 5 as opposed to this one. So that kind of pains me to say, but I don't know, I still love it. It's still very pretty. It's still number 6, y'all, but it's just, I don't know how it dropped. We'll see how this works out next year. Maybe next year I'll go back to this and just choose it over all my other summer fragrances. But as of right now, this is where it stands in my list. Still very pretty, and I absolutely love it. I just, you know, it's not my number 1 anymore. I'm excited to tell y'all my number 1. Like it was not my number 1 last year, I'll just say that. So now we're in the top 5. So these are the ones that I love out of all my collection. I mean, I love quite a few of these, but these are my top, like, core part of my collection. So number 5 is Tom Ford Noir Parfum. Now this one I've had for a long time, but I don't know, over the last year it has just become a really addictive scent. Actually last year I went to Vegas around this time, so around November, and I remember I took this on vacation with me, and I think that's when I got really back into it, because when I took it with me on vacation, after that I remember I kept wearing it over and over and over again. That's kind of when it re-sparked my interest, and I realized how pretty a scent this is. So this is a sweet but smoky scent. To me, I don't know if tobacco is a note, but to me that's what it smells like a sweet tobacco with some gourmand undertones. I believe coffee is the sweet note in this, which coffee is a Indian dessert. Hopefully I did not get that wrong. That's kind of similar. I think it has a similar taste to cheesesteak, or cheesecake, not cheesesteak. But you could definitely smell that in here. So if you like smoky scents and you like gourmands, this is kind of like a mixture of the two. I definitely think this is unisex, but because of that really sweet note in it, maybe some men would have a problem wearing that, I'm not sure. But I think it's unisex. I've gotten a ton of compliments wearing this from strangers. Like I remember an Uber driver asked me about it as soon as I got in the car. Just random people, and my husband really likes this one as well. So I wish I could tell how far I was in this bottle, but I definitely would recommend this. It's also not a part of the private line, so more accessible. So if you're looking to get into Tom Ford, I definitely think this would be a nice one to try. So at the number 4 spot, we have none other than Tobacco Vanille. This one is very popular. Again, it is a sweet, smoky scent. When you think about this one compared to Noir Parfum, I do think they are similar. I do not think they're the same. This one definitely is more tobacco, more robust, more, it's deeper, it's smokier. This, oh gosh, this is so good. This is so, so good. I love this one. I just feel like it's just so cozy, but at the same time it's sexy. It is perfect for nights out. It's perfect for during the day. I actually wore this the other day when it was cold here, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I wish I could just wear this year round. This is one that I love to just keep smelling. It's just that good. I know for some people it could be a tad bit too smoky, but honestly, I just think you have to smell this one. You have to smell this one. Out of my top 5, this is the one that I think represents Tom Ford fragrance brand very well, but it's still going to be likable by quite a few people, if that makes sense. Tom Ford fragrances all have that certain something to it that a lot of people don't like, but a lot of people love. So I feel like this kind of, when you smell this, it makes sense that it's a Tom Ford fragrance, but at the same time, I do think that a lot of people would like it. Hopefully that makes some sense to y'all, but I love it. Number 3, I'm gonna try to be quick because my battery's running low. I've been talking too much apparently, but number 3 is none other than Black Orchid. This was my first Tom Ford fragrance. This is what made me a Tom Ford lover. This is so different. It's so unisex. It's so spicy. Makes you stand out. It's sweet and fruity at the same time, but like a dark dripping fruit. The floral notes in it are there, but it's blended so well that I feel like this fragrance is one that is really hard to explain. I definitely think you need to smell this. Not everyone will like it, and that's perfectly okay. It's very polarizing, but I happen to be a Tom Ford Black Orchid lover, and this is the fragrance that started my whole Tom Ford love. I bought this fragrance years ago when I was never even really into like I was always into fragrances, but like this was before I would like look up notes on fragrances. I just blind bought this and fell in love. So that was number 3, and I'm surprised to say that number 2 is Black Orchid Parfum. So this one is the new version of Black Orchid, and as of right now, it's my number 2 because for some reason I just like it a little bit more. They are very similar, so you probably don't need both unless you are a Tom Ford fanatic like myself. But this one to me is a bit sweeter, a bit boozier, and I don't know, something about this one just makes me, I don't know, it just does something to me, y'all. I'm probably, tonight I have my white elephant party that or not party, but little gathering that I'm going to be going to, and I think this is going to be my scent of the night. I just love this one. Unfortunately, where I live, it's hot, so I definitely wouldn't wear this in the hot weather. I think it could be a bit overpowering. But if you compare this one to Black Orchid, I definitely think that this one is a little less overpowering. So you could get away with it in the day, just depending on where you're going and the temperature. But typically I reserve both of these fragrances for night, but they're beautiful. They're very beautiful, and I'm surprised that it, as of right now, like it bumped my Black Orchid down a spot. Last year, Black Orchid was number 1 for me. This year is number 3. This one is number 2. And at the number 1 spot, I'm sure y'all already know what it is, Lost Cherry. Do I even need to talk about this one? I've talked about this so much that I try not to talk about it because I don't want my videos to just be the same stuff over and over. But I love this one. It is so sweet, sexy. It is the sexiest grown-up boozy cherry that you will ever smell. I have smelled quite a few dupes for this, and nothing smells like this. So I definitely see why people wouldn't want to pay for this. It's very expensive. So, you know, if you have a dupe and you love it, fine, that's great. But I smell the original first. So whenever I smell a dupe, I'm like, no, not at all. This one is just so good. This is my perfect like date night scent. This is my perfect Netflix and chill scent. I don't often wear it for that because honestly it is very expensive. But I just feel like it is like the perfect scent. Like I don't know how to explain it, but I love this. It's cherry, it's almond, it's sweet, it's inviting, it's boozy. It is the best cherry ever. And it's my favorite. So that is it for my Tom Ford fragrance collection. I had a lot of fun making this video because I love Tom Ford fragrances. If you are a Tom Ford lover, let me know your favorite fragrance down below. If you're not a Tom Ford lover, but you're interested in any of these, let us know that down below too. Maybe we can have a conversation. And if you don't like Tom Ford, then you're probably not watching at this point, so. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.